Today on the podcast, we're talking about how looking at your competitors can actually help you accelerate your own business. So join me as we look at competitive analyses. Analyses? Is that a word? Not quite sure. Anyway, join me anyway. Hey, welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
Gonna dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small.
Hey there, and welcome to episode 119 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. Thank you, as always, for lending me your ears today. I know you have lots of choices, and I really do appreciate you making my podcast one of them. I am, of course, the host, Jen. If this is your first episode you've listened to, then super welcome to you, or welcome back if this is not your first episode that you've listened to. I'm a marketing thought leader and digital strategist and coach for small businesses, and pretty much just an all-round small business lover with one goal in mind for you, and that is for you to make marketing a priority in your business. Because if you want to grow, then you need to market yourself. It's that simple. It's not easy, but it's definitely simple for sure, which happens to be why my podcast is called Small Business Made Simple. Before we head into this week's episode, though, I just wanted to quickly remind you all about my Women in Business retreat that I'm hosting on the 21st of May in a small town called Yarrawonga on the border of New South and Victoria at a beautiful resort called Airtree Golfers Resort. It's a weekend for women in business to refocus and be inspired, relax, and of course, talk business. There's only 12 spots, of which there are only 6 left. So if you're interested, then hey, reach out and I will send you all the information. Or of course, you can go to the website, which is at bit.ly, so bit.ly/WIB retreat, WIB, of course, standing for Women in Business Retreat. Anyway, or of course, you can just reach out on any of the social platforms and give me a holler and I'll answer your questions. But let's get into this week's episode, because this week's podcast, I want to chat to you about your competitors. The big, the small, the near, the far. I just want to talk competitors. Some small business owners spend probably too much time looking at their competitors, and some people don't spend enough time looking at their competitors. And I believe there is a happy medium, which is what we're going to talk about. And this episode isn't about starting to follow or watch your competitors. Heck, I think we are all way too busy for that. But it's spending a little time doing it. Time that will be well spent on different occasions, I promise. And I'm going to tell you why it's time well spent very shortly. You may have competitors that you think are doing better than you, or seemingly, because we never know what is inside other people's businesses, but maybe you do think they're doing better than you and winning more customers than you, and you might be thinking things like, I give better customer service than them, or I have better products than them, my stores set out better, I'm more genuine than them. They're just in it for the money, whereas I love what I do. They're actually horrible humans, and it's all one big act. And I'm always on time and they're always late and lazy, etc., etc. You start to get the picture. We do say these things about our competitors that we believe are doing better than what we are. And we start to look at them and think, why are they doing better than we are? And if you do think these things, or perhaps something similar about your competitors, then the reason why they are winning more business than you, earning more than you do, or perhaps doing better in business than you, can almost always be put down to one reason. Just one reason. Can you guess what it is? Do you know what I'm going to say? They're simply better at marketing what they do than what you are. They are better at showing up. They have a better strategy, or they have a strategy. They are better at singing their own song and telling people what they do. And they're better at telling their audience what problems they solve for them. Maybe they understand their ideal client better and therefore can really tap into those pain points. So it would be pretty easy for me to say about now that you simply just need to get better at marketing. And I could finish the podcast and that would be all. You need to get better at showing up for your audience and selling yourself. And perhaps the podcast should end here. Perhaps that is exactly the solution. That's all you need to do to win more business. Or perhaps it's time to do a competitive analysis and actually find out what you need to do to win more business or to win more of that business pie. Some people will do a SWOT analysis when it comes to their competitors. So SWOT is looking at strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats. It's a really great paper way of looking at things, but it's often based on theory and based on assumptions. The type of competitive analysis that I'm talking about is much more about perhaps being in the trenches. So let's take a case study of a retailer who owns a florist shop. He has many competitors, including some small business competitors and some multinational chains, all within the area of what she calls her business. As a florist, if you want to win more business, what do you need to look at when it comes to your competitors? And even though you may not be a florist, think about these questions and think about what assumptions you've made of your competitors as we go through them. I'd suggest some of the things that as a florist you might need to look at are customer service. When it comes to your competitors, this is customer service. How long after you walk into their business premises are you greeted? Or, if it's an online store, what does their online store look like? How long do you have to be on the website to figure out how you can buy from these people or get to know these people a little bit more? But let's just stick with perhaps face-to-face marketing at the moment. What was their greeting like? Was it enthusiastic and friendly and helpful? What are their prices like? Are they a Tiffany florist or a Kmart florist? As in, their price is quite dear, or are they down the other end of the scale and quite cheap? What condition are the flowers in? Are they grown in Australia or imported? And as a florist, I'd expect that you could possibly know this by looking at them and knowing what's in season and what's available. What are their upsells and their cross-sells? And how do you go about being sold these upsells and cross-sells? Is their store tidy and clean? Are the people well dressed? Do they have a uniform? Are they sloppy? Do they look like they enjoy their work? What's their checkout system like? Is it easy? Is it quick? Do they deliver? Do they charge for delivery? What sort of time frame will they deliver your flowers in? Do they answer questions with confident answers? Do you think they actually know what they're talking about? Are they florists or are they customer service people that don't actually have the qualifications of a florist? The list goes on and on, but you start to get the picture. Yes, you might need to improve your marketing, but making a list of questions like this can actually help you do a competitive analysis on them. Even going into their business or purchasing from them could tell you exactly what marketing you need to improve to win more customers or to win more of the business pie. For instance, if you find, like from the questions above perhaps, that their flowers are not fresh, that they're not Australian grown, they don't support Australian growers, that they're not sold by florists. These people are just people who work in a florist, not necessarily have the trade of a florist. Maybe they're sold by grumpy people who really don't know anything about flowers and their store is messy and dirty and they charge heaps for delivery and they only deliver once a day. Then there's heaps of opportunities for you to start thinking about in your own marketing and building a better business for yourself. In fact, you probably have a better business. You've just actually forgotten to tell people about it. You've assumed everybody knew that you deliver flowers for free and you deliver 4 times a day and that your flowers are only ever purchased from supporting Australian growers, and you have loads of happy customers every day who are not only now customers but now your friends. So it's time for you to put up some posts or do some marketing around how you support Australian growers only. Start gathering testimonials from happy customers who love what you do and love the quality and the pricing and the delivery and how you show up all the time for them. Maybe you need to start showing up in your business online and doing some videos of walking through your store and showcasing what you have and highlighting your helpful, friendly staff and showing you on deliveries. You get the picture of all the different things you could be doing that maybe you have just assumed your audience knows these things or remembers these things because you wrote about it 12 months ago in a post. It's a really bad way to run your business or really even our lives, because assumption is the killer of many relationships, whether it's business or personal. So if you're not sure why your competitors are winning more business than you, then perhaps it's time that you sit down and do your own competitive analysis. I know you'll be amazed at what you will actually find. You'll find ways to improve your own business, or at least your marketing, because you'll find loads of content when you're doing this, and you might even be surprised at what else you might find out. Now, all this is said with a caveat, of course, because I'm old and wise. Well, I'm 46 and I think I'm old and wise. And I know there are lots of businesses in this world, maybe your competitors, maybe mine, that have a lot of smoke and mirrors. And the reality is that their business is very different to what the outside world seems. And we are making very big assumptions about them when we think that they are doing better than us. So keep this in mind too when you are thinking about your competitors doing better than you. Things could be a little bit smoke and mirrory. So just be prepared to be finding that out as well. And like I said at the beginning, this is not something I think we should spend loads of energy and putting loads of energy into. Business is hard enough. I get that. But it is a great activity for us to do every now and then to ensure that our marketing and our business is the best that it can be. And also sometimes we get these little reminders that, take the florist, for instance. We know we only support Australian growers, and we probably said it 6 months ago in an Instagram post, but what about all the new people that have followed us since that post? Do we need to remind them or let them know and not just assume that they've scrolled all the way back and seen that post? So go and think about your competitors. And if you're thinking they are getting more business than you, and yet you're better at what you actually do, then A, get better at marketing what you do, and get better at knowing your audience and what their pain points are and what makes them tick. And B, maybe put some energy into a competitive analysis and write yourself a list of questions and start analysing. Look, I really hope this episode was helpful and a little bit thought-provoking. Honestly, I believe for many small businesses that it is their marketing that lets them down. I'm building a business around it. I see it every single day. Not knowing who your audience is, not knowing who their target audience is, not knowing what problems they solve for that target market, or perhaps, not even solving problems. Maybe it is, you don't know how you delight your audience, gives your competitors the upper hand. So for me, I think it is a lot about people just not making marketing a priority in their business and making some assumptions that because we said it 6 months ago that everybody knows that about our business. So, and just before I go, just another important note, I guess, I'm all for competition. I think competitive competition is seriously healthy. There's nothing wrong with good, great competition. It keeps us on our game. So I really want you to embrace it. And competition is definitely not a dirty word, but it is something that every now and then we should be casting our eye over and looking inside our own business and wondering why competitors are perhaps getting more business than what we are. But never assume. That's it for episode 119. Again, I hope that it has perhaps brought something to the front of mind for you to look at and perhaps look at your competitors in a slightly different way. I will, of course, be back next Thursday for episode 120, but I look forward to chatting with you before then. I'd love you to come and join my Like-Minded Business Owners Facebook group and join in the conversations that happen over there. Or, of course, let's chat on Instagram. You'll find me at Small Business Made Simple. If you're enjoying this podcast and you've listened this far, so I seriously hope you are enjoying it, please hit that subscribe button and share this episode with another superstar business owner who's doing that daily grind, who would really appreciate someone making their business life a little bit simpler. And if you've got time for a rating and a review, then I would appreciate that so much. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. But whatever you do, my small business peeps, as my opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.
No time like the present. Tell it like you feel it, say it proud, be true, and let us see you for the star that you are. No point in dreaming small.
I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Yorta Yorta people, on which I record this podcast and conduct my business today, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I extend this respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here with us today as well.